wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Try this again. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. My name is Chris Rodell, the Road Dog. Big Sexy here with you in control. We got a whole good 2 hours of wrestling talk, and we got a great interview lined up in the second hour. But I can't do this alone, so I have to welcome in my co-host for the evening. He is the one and only. He is the legendary voice in the St. Louis area, the one and only Mr. Luke Roberts. Luke, my friend.
I got to tell you right now, you're taking after me, my friend. I mean, again, we're getting the show started. The microphones are having all sorts of headaches. But you know what? Tonight's going to be a great night. We're going to have the Queen of Lariats on the program tonight. This is an interview that I'm very much looking forward to. I mean, Ashlyn Alexandar has been tearing up the Midwestern professional wrestling scene. And in a little over an hour's time, we're going to have her right here as a special guest tonight on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Also, we're going to have the Snippets of Truth, the FWWC tonight, the High Spot segment, you name it, from top to bottom. And for those here in the Midwest, Chris, it's a happening week in the world of pro wrestling. We had Monday Night Raw here at St. Louis this past last evening. AEW Dynamite will be in the beautiful Kansas City area tomorrow night. It's going to be a great night of pro wrestling all around, just like it always here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Chris, man, how you been?
Oh, it's been good. We've been, just chilling out. Spent some time with CHWA on Sunday. They had a big show at the Illinois VFW Hall, which is funny because going into the place, I was like, you know what? I did a karaoke show there one time when I was working for another friend's company, and I realized at that moment I was a much better DJ than I was at what they call a KJ, a karaoke jock. So I was not very good at the karaoke thing. So, I mean,
you know something, Chris? I got to put it this way: if you're going to talk karaoke, where's Nightmare Jones in this whole thing? I've heard he is like a super, like a top of the line, a 5-star karaoke expert.
I don't know that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he is a good referee though. So I mean,
that is true. Although the last time I was on the program, you were kind of taking light of him meeting an electrical current, I guess you'd say.
Oh yeah, he got tased.
Yeah.
He's been tased before. I mean, it's the truth. He's been tased.
Let me put it this way: no,
you're not going to get tased.
No. I've already had my experience getting inside the ring with Mephisto and Madman Pondo inside a barbed wire ring. I don't want to go too many more.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Weren't you part of also Mephisto versus Ian Rotten in the broken glass match or something?
I've been around that. I've been inside steel cages. I mean, you name it from top to bottom. I've been around it in the world of professional wrestling. And tonight, it's going to be just like those times. I mean, again, we got a lot of great wrestling to go. I mean, again, you're going to have an opportunity. We're going to talk about a lot of great pro wrestling action on the local scene as well. You talked about CHWA. We're having an opportunity to talk Dynamo Pro a little bit here later this evening. We're also going to have a little bit of opportunity to talk about SICW and their upcoming events as well. A lot of great things happening in the world of pro wrestling. And Chris, I got to tell you, for all those great fans that are tuning into the program tonight, make sure Make sure you're logging into the accounts. We can make sure we see who's going to be sending us the comments. Also, make sure to send all those great stars to the Wrestle Talk podcast, because the more stars you send us, the more money we can make. The more great things we can bring to you each and every week here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And you know something, Chris? Not only do we get money from the stars, but we also get a lot of great sponsors here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And we wouldn't be where we are today without them. We got Royal Mills Transportation with the one, the only Dewan Mills, the CEO. We've got Rathbun Engraving, the ones behind those great Wrestle Talk podcast mugs. $20 available from any of the Wrestle Talk podcast hosts. Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Designs, the ones behind that wonderful Wrestle Talk Tumblr, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, which you're going to have an opportunity to hear from later on this hour here on the program. Now, Chris, I got to ask you a question. I know that the viewers are going to ask it. I know I'm going to ask it. What are your thoughts right now in the world of hockey? It seems like every time we turn around here, I know this is a Wrestle Talk podcast, but I got to ask you, it's the first time we've had a chance to talk in a while. Is it me, or are the Blues already planning for 2-3 years down the road?
I don't know. It's a hard time to be a hockey fan in St. Louis right now. I went into the season having so much expectation, but I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things. I don't know. It's a good thing. I don't think the rebuild will be as long as we think it's going to be, because he actually did what he was supposed to do and actually got a whole bunch of got some assets for people that were free agents. So it'll be an interesting time to be a Blues fan. It's an interesting time to be a Blues fan. So. Yeah, but but in St. Louis, we're thriving right now. I mean, we've got a brand new soccer team that's 4-0.
St. Louis FC,
St. Louis
City FC.
St. Louis City FC. They taken the nickname of the Dogs. They're 4-0. No one expected that. We've got the St. Louis Battlehawks, who are drawing 30,000 to a dome. That they weren't really expected to have that many, and then we're right up against its Cardinals opening days coming up here in less than 2 weeks, I think. So it's gonna be it's a good time to be in St. Louis. Maybe not necessarily as a Blues fan, but also we got AEW going to be in St. Louis the following Wednesday after their trip to Kansas City. So
and again, that's going to be a great night of pro wrestling action. But you know something, Chris? I know we talked about the sponsors. We talked about all those great ways you can communicate with us here on the program. # Let's Talk Wrestling as well. Make sure you send that out here. But also, we want to make sure we thank all the great viewers who tune in each and every week. I know they've got a lot of things going on here in the world of professional wrestling. And tonight, we're going to have a lot to talk about. But, Chris, we've taken care of the sponsors. We've taken care of introducing ourselves. We've taken care of talking about all the great viewers that tune into this program every week. And I know you're 3 steps ahead of me, which is a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to you for a piece of wrestling business we take care of each and every week. So, ladies and gentlemen, this time we're going to turn things back over once again to the one, the only, big, sexy Chris Rodell.
All right. We'd like to ask everyone at this time to please rise. And if you're wearing any kind of hat wear, please remove it as we honor our country with the singing of the national anthem.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem, paying homage to the greatest country in the history of the world, that being the United States of America. I want to give a shout out to all our great men and women who are defending our country each and every week throughout the world. I also want to thank all the great first responders who take care of us each and every week, make sure we have the opportunity to take care of the things and do the things that we want to do right here in the good old US of A. And Chris, I got to tell you right now, tonight's going to be a great show. I'm going to warn you. I am a little bit nervous. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm a little nervous with this interview with Ashlyn Alexandar because I've seen her and she is double tough. And I'm going to let you in a little secret tonight, Chris. Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. I sense a sweep, and it's not going to be Big Sexy tonight.
Oh man, that's that. I don't like that. But we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and do this. So.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, we're going to go ahead and get things rolling here. You know, one of the things that makes the Wrestle Talk podcast so unique, in addition to all of our great viewers, our sponsors, the FWWC, the Snippets of Truth, everything from top to bottom, each and every week, we bring you up to date on all the ins and outs in the world of professional wrestling. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and turn your volumes way up because it's time for the High Spot segment right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast.
DJ Money.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like clear chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a runner's speeches of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a clock flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast, now they know we about to start the show.
All right, whoop! I hit the pause, the play button. Yes, just to let you know, we do have a new Wrestle Talk podcast page. We had a little technical snafu, so go search for Wrestle Talk, and you'll see the picture of our little poster for the show this week. Is the promo is the avatar picture, the profile picture. So check on that. Give us a like, and you'll know when we're on. We're trying to get everybody invited back. It's just taking a little bit of time, but we've got our friend Drew Chandler checking in from the
beautiful snow-capped mountains of Topeka, Kansas. You know something, Chris? I got to tell you, that's on my list of things to do this summer is to tour all those great mountains, the snow-capped mountains of Topeka, Kansas. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know what? Since you and I, we're going to let it out here right now. You and I are going to have an opportunity here in a couple months to road trip to the National Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. You know what we need to do? We need to take a complete side journey from Waterloo, Iowa. Let's go ahead and have Drew Chandler go ahead and give us a great individual personalized tour of the beautiful snow-capped mountains of Topeka, Kansas. What do you think, Chris?
I didn't even know there were mountains in Kansas, to be honest with you. So yeah, our friend the Night Owl, fellow co-host here, do have a new channel. So tell your cousins.
Chris.
Or go to www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. I know it's
Chris.
And the snitch is here.
I thought being gone as long as I have, he could have finally left me alone for a while, but I guess that's not the case. The Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Champion, a man who very well could be at Dynamo Pro Wrestling's event this coming Saturday, defending the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship, is here on the program. And I got to tell you right now, Chris, this man has been
driving. This is where what? How'd that get there? Who put that there?
I don't know.
That's not the right picture. That's not the right picture. That's the right pic. Who hacked into Snitch? Did you hack into my computer and put that on there so I would show that?
Well, you know something. I got to do some research here. I got to talk to the Night Owl, or I got to talk to Hardcore Hoss or something, because that's one of those where somebody hacked into the system. But again, that's one of those where you know what's there. And again, Dynamo Pro, if you can bring up the right graphic, Chris. I don't know what's up with the technology here, but let's go ahead and bring up.
We're gonna be at the Taco and Margarita Festival. Apparently, tickets are very limited, if not already sold out. So if you are at the Taco and Margarita Festival at the Chaffetz Arena on Saturday, you can join us there.
That is true. And like I said, we got a lot more great pro wrestling info as we go throughout the show. Stay tuned to the Wrestle Talk podcast. And okay, Chris, we're just gonna go ahead and bypass the snitch here.
Let's just move on. We got things to do. We're on the road to WrestleMania. And
we're only 2 weeks away from night 1 of WrestleMania and night 2, of course. I mean, they kind of are back to back. And as we look right here, Chris, let's go ahead and throw up our first question tonight. I don't know. Last time I was here, I know that the Maestro had messed up all the randomizers.
Why does Maestro mess up everything for us?
I don't know what it is. I mean, he's got those technology things going.
All right, let's see if we can fire up the randomizer.
Let's see if it's going to work here.
No, let's see. I guess we'll start with something that came out a couple of days ago. Goldberg, his contract has expired. What do you expect for the future?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Chris, speaking on behalf, I think, of the Maestro, I hope that this is in the Maestro's case. I know I had an opportunity to talk with him, and he's hoping that with the contract expiring, this is the last we're going to see of Goldberg. I have done a little bit of research, and I heard back as early or late, depending on how you want to look at it, as 2019 was that AEW of all promotions was looking at the idea of signing Goldberg. I think right now, if he goes anywhere, and it's going to sound crazy, but I think it's one of those, he almost has to go to Japan, because I don't see him fitting in AEW. I don't see him fitting in any of the other promotions here in the United States. I think that New Japan is going to be that fit for him. Like I said, I don't know exactly.
I can't see him signing one long-term anywhere. I think Goldberg at best is a what's the word I'm looking? Nostalgia act, where he just needs to come in occasionally and talk about some things and just. But did you see the video that New Japan put out today?
Are you talking the one that has really been kind of tearing things up with I think it was like the Globe and all that kind of stuff? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, absolutely. So before we get going here, we're going to bring someone in who is from the Snow.
Hold on, Chris. You can't do it correctly. Let me go ahead, because I know for a fact this is a longtime personal friend of mine. We're going to take care of it, ladies and gentlemen. Live from the majestic and royal snow-capped mountains of Topeka, Kansas, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only. Some of you know him as Hype Man Pinky. Some of you know as Drew Chandler. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring him in right now. Drew, how in the world are you doing? I got to tell you, you heard it earlier. We got to work this out. When we go to the Hall of Fame in July, we got to make kind of like a side journey here and visit you. And you can give us a personal VIP tour of the snow-capped mountains of Topeka, Kansas. I got to ask you, how you doing, my friend?
Listen, that all sounds wonderful. I can't guarantee that the white at the top of the mountains is snow, because it is Topeka, Kansas. Just throwing that out there. But, hey, I'm doing wonderful. I'm glad that you sent me the invite to join you guys for a little bit tonight, and glad the Wrestle Talk podcast is up and going on a Tuesday night, as it should be. Excited to be here.
If you want wrestling talk, you come to the Wrestle Talk podcast on Tuesday nights every week. So
the place to be.
Now, Drew, you see the question on the screen below you. I know that you're not as much of a Goldberg fan as our good friend, the Maestro Jeremy Karp, and you can see the Night Owl's opinion on the whole situation. Again, always quick to make a comment about things, but I got to ask you: have we seen the last of Bill Goldberg on the major professional wrestling scene?
Well, you know what? You can say a lot about Goldberg's in-ring ability nowadays. I mean, not discrediting anything he did back in the day, because back in the day he was awesome. Like in the late 90s, being a little boy growing up watching WCW, like I would sit on the couch and watch WCW, you know, Monday Nitro. My mom, my dad, my brother, and me, we'd all sit there and watch. Excuse me, sorry. And Goldberg was like our favorite wrestler. He was all of our favorite wrestlers. We had a little VHS tape of Goldberg that we'd watch all the time, and I had like his highlights and stuff like that. And as we got older, I'm trying to explain why Goldberg is kind of more of a sentimental favorite for me. My family kind of all broke apart. So like my mom, my dad, they went through a separation. My brother kind of didn't talk with us for a long time and stuff like that. But and that was for a number of years. But when Goldberg came back in the build up to WrestleMania 33, I think he was against Brock Lesnar. I got a phone call from my brother for the first time in like 6 or 7 years at that point, asking me if I was watching Goldberg on Raw. And so Goldberg to me is always a sentimental favorite. You can say what you want about his in-ring ability. Being an adult, I never thought I'd get the opportunity to see Goldberg wrestle in person, but I got to go to WrestleMania 33 and watch Goldberg, wrestle in person against Brock Lesnar. And say what you want about the match, say what you want about Goldberg's ability. I thought that was freaking awesome because Goldberg was like my favorite thing back in the day. Now, as far as nowadays, I don't know that there's much that the future holds for Goldberg, in the business. I think there could be a spot for him, like if, say, AEW or WWE wanted somebody to come in and kind of maybe coach some different things to maybe do, like in the gym, how to maintain your body and make it look, keep it up and keep it the way it's supposed to be. Maybe some like nutrition and stuff like that, because Goldberg, even nowadays, is a freaking truck. Like that is a big man, and he knows how to take care of his body and maintain his body. So I think if AEW or WWE needed somebody in that aspect, I think that would be really cool. As far as seeing him in the ring, I love a good Goldberg return. If it was an AEW, I think it would be a little bit more fresh. I think it'd be kind of neat, because really, to me, AEW kind of feels like the WCW back in the day did to me. I don't know if anybody else shares that sentiment or not, but to me, it really gives me that vibe. Like it's different. It's the alternative. I feel like the camera work is similar to how it was back in the day. I feel like just having Tony Schiavone being the voice of it just sends me right back to the late 90s.
The 90s when you were flipping back and forth on Raw and Nitro, and you didn't want to miss anything, but then you didn't have picture in picture. So
yes. And so in that aspect, it really takes me back to that time. So I think it'd be really cool to see Goldberg pop up on AEW, even if it's just once, even if it's not to wrestle, even if it's in a different capacity. But I'm really not interested in seeing another Goldberg title run or another Goldberg. And maybe if he comes back for a one-off match or something, that would be cool. But I think most people are over it. To me, it's just a sentimental thing.
Yeah, so, it's a one-off thing now. It's a nostalgia thing. It's like what Bully Ray and Tommy Dream. Well, what Bully Ray should be is a nostalgia act, but he can still actually kind of go in the ring, and there's nothing like him on the microphone.
He can still cut a promo like no one's business.
And Tommy Dreamer is another one that isn't nostalgia, but man, it hurts me to watch him wrestle because he just looks like he's in pain. And even somebody like Raven, who recently returned back to MLW. Even just watching him do what he's doing, it's like, man, this guy really shouldn't be out there doing this right now, because you can kind of see through it. Like, it's not the Raven of back in the day. He's not as awesome as he once was. And sometimes when he's throwing punches or kicks or strikes, it's like, it's just that's not it. That's not it. It's not it.
Same goes for Tommy Dreamer. He's not as well. He probably can't work as intensely as he used to, and so watching them now is just like, this ain't it. Goldberg is kind of similar,
and that's why Tommy Dreamer is mostly in like hard matches and stuff, because but
all right, well, Chris,
high spot.
Throw this one out here. You've got what's here. What are your thoughts? I mean, you've heard from Drew. You've heard from myself
on Goldberg. I think he just needs to be around once every so often. That's it.
Okay, I can see what's there. Now let's go ahead while we've got Drew here on the Wrestle Talk podcast here this evening, and a very familiar face here on the program. Let's go ahead and throw one more question out here to our good friend before he returns to his palatial estate in the world of Topeka, Kansas. Let's go ahead and throw one more randomizer question up here on the high spot segment. So, Chris, if we can get it to this has a lot of interesting avenues here. What do you think should main event WrestleMania Night 1? Charlotte versus Rhea, or Sami and Kevin Owens versus the Usos, and why? You know something, gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump in here first, because I'm just going to say right now, I almost cried last night.
Why?
Seeing Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the same ring at the same time. It took me back to the days of yesteryear, and I'm not talking the yesteryear of WWE. I'm talking to the days of ROH. It just seemed like everything was right in the world, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were together, and things were great. And the Usos didn't have clue, one, as to what in the world they were going to do with a team like this. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think history kind of sets a precedent here. And as much as I would love to see the end of night one with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns holding the Unified World Tag Team Championships over their heads, I think right now you've got to go with the precedent, you've got to go with the tradition, and you've got to go with Charlotte versus Rhea. I personally, I would love to see Sami Zayn. I think he very much deserves a main event. He already showed it at the Elimination Chamber. I think that Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, I mean, this is the match we should have gotten during COVID. This is the match we should have had. And I'm going to tell you right now, to me, I think this is the matchup that we're most definitely going. I think this is the match we're going to get as the main event. Chris, I'm going to throw.
I also think that Charlotte and Rhea should probably be the main event of night one of WrestleMania. It's not a strong main event, but it's not like completely weak. I mean, I think it's going to be great. But here's my thing. Why not open up night one of WrestleMania with Sami and KO versus the Usos? Why not set the tone for the weekend and have them open the show? Why are you doing the thumbs down?
No, Sami Zayn is not an open the show guy. But Kevin Owens is not an open the show guy. To me, I think that if anything, you put him, if you're not going to put him in the main event of night one, you've got to put him second to last. That's my view. You can't change my opinion. I'm really looking forward to what Drew's going to say, because I'm going to be honest with you. Great minds think alike. Drew, give us your thoughts. Is it the women's championship matchup, or is it the tag team championships headlining night one?
You know, I think you could really make some very solid arguments for both. Personally, I love Charlotte. I love Rhea Ripley. I think there's something within the build of that isn't connecting for me. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I can't even put it into words. There's something about it that to me, it feels like that shouldn't be the SmackDown Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. And it's nothing against Charlotte. It's nothing against Rhea. I just feel like Rhea is already like embroiled in so many different things, whether it's with Dominic against Rey Mysterio or whether it's with Finn Balor against Edge. She's been there for all of that. And so she's kind of like pulled three different ways. And to me, the buildup between Rhea and Charlotte almost feels forced to me. Now, other people might get a different vibe from that, but that's just for me.
It's kind of like the vibe whenever Charlotte won the Royal Rumble and she wanted to challenge Rhea Ripley when she was the NXT champion. It just you're sitting there going, okay, I get it, but I don't.
To me, it's weird. And then the other side of that, as far as the tag team match, there are some aspects of that I feel like is weird as well with the build. I think so. If I had to pick, I think the tag team title match should be the main event of WrestleMania, because I feel like Sami Zayn deserves that spot for everything that he's done the past, I don't know how many, 6 to 8 months. He is really transformed into a main event act. I think he deserves. I think it should be Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. I think. Now we can argue that differently, but Sami Zayn is a main event act. He deserves to be in the main event. Now that the whole, like last Friday on SmackDown, when they had been trying to they put Cody Rhodes in a weird spot because it should not have been Cody Rhodes putting Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn back together. That is such a weird thing to me. And I think they're building towards maybe a 6-man match at WrestleMania Backlash, something like that. But that's the weird aspect of that part. I don't like that it took Cody Rhodes to get Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens back together on the same page. I don't like that.
I don't get the whole Cody. I mean, okay, Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. Yes, he gets the title shot. Okay, that's fine. If you truly want to split, apparently I read somewhere that by SummerSlam they're going to have the title. They're going to split the titles. Why not use WrestleMania to help split your titles?
Would have been perfect.
Why not have Sami Zayn go after what? Have Roman in main event. I know you could possibly get injured on night one, then something happens on night two. But they can't do the night two main event. But you can't go into wrestling match thinking that you're going to get injured. Why not? Why couldn't they have done Sammy versus Roman, and then Roman versus Cody on night two, and maybe both Sammy and Cody get their WrestleMania moments? But
I'm going to say this, Chris. I'm going to say this, Drew. Anything that gets Sami Zayn a WrestleMania moment, 2 thumbs up from Luke Roberts. I got to tell you that. Sami Zayn has consistently, and a lot of people have said it, he is the reason why the bloodline has done what it's done. Sami Zayn.
I can't fault it, because apparently the Sami Zayn and the bloodline thing was only supposed to be a short, like maybe 6 week, 2 month storyline, and we've extended it to like almost going on 8 months or so. I mean, because he got over with it and stuff like that.
2 words: feeling oozy.
That was the funniest moment I think I've ever heard. I'm going to bring in another one of our co-hosts to the Wrestle Talk podcast. He's jumping on for a second. He's in the Pacific Northwest. He's our Northwest correspondent.
Hey,
Justin Wade. Jay Wade, you look like you look all official with a tie and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen you wear a tie.
It's a nice breezy 65 here in the beautiful state of Washington. I am in the parking lot of the Marysville Municipal Police Department because I have a client interview with upstanding citizen in the jails tonight. I have, from time to time, I have to take my talents elsewhere, like I used to in the independent world of wrestling. And instead of the back of a decommissioned Kmart, I'm taking my talents to a jail cell in Marysville.
I thought when you said that you were in the parking lot of a police station, I'm like, are you turning yourself in? What is going on?
No, not yet.
So Justin, well, maybe you want to weigh in. What do you think should main event night one of WrestleMania? Charlotte versus Rhea, or Sammy and KO versus the Usos?
So what? Okay, so what do you end the Oscars with? Do you end it with Best Actor Movie or Best Guy to Get Your Coffee? I'm sorry, but Rhea Ripley and Charlotte need to be not in the main event of night one. I know, they're fantastic talent, but you got the Oscars right there with the Bloodline and KO Sami Zayn storyline. It just, from this last 6 months, I don't even think the last 6 months have been epic on television, to where it's brought in fans more probably than the NWO, WCW, WWE Austin era days.
Wow.
No, go ahead.
That's my take on that.
I think, yeah. Luke put me down. Luke basically put his thumbs down and said, I say you start off WrestleMania weekend with a bang and start off the WrestleMania weekend with Sammy and Kevin versus the Usos.
No.
Now that would be interesting, opening up the show.
I mean,
no,
you always want a first match. You always want your first match to set the tone for the show. That set the tone for the weekend.
No.
Sounds like that weird cat that you that is about to attack you when it's going no.
So while we're still talking about the Oscars, this is kind of like a movie scene. Another high spot question we had was, what do you think the ending of the Bloodline story is going to be? Is it going to end at WrestleMania? Is it going to continue? Are we going to go on to WrestleMania Backlash in Puerto Rico? What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I have an answer for that.
I got an answer. I'll start if you don't mind. You know, it sounds like I'm interrupting everybody anyway. Sorry.
No, you're good.
It looks like Roman's taking an extended time off after Mania until about SummerSlam, which I think is perfect. Let Cody reign supreme with the belt, and then all of a sudden bring Roman back into the picture to kind of put a damper on things, and have them start up a feud back up with Cody. The Usos, if they drop the belts at Mania, it's gonna cool off their steam. And I think the time is now to put Solo Sikoa on his own, and it'd be the perfect time right after Mania.
I mean, here's the thought. If Roman's taking this extended holiday, how about elevate Jey Uso into the, maybe Jey Uso tries to carry on. He's like, we don't need him. We still got the bloodline going. I'm main event Jey. Maybe he does a short program with Cody Rhodes.
Oh, that'd be good. So
be that. One thing I would, and again, Chris, I'm going to throw this here, and this is a match I think a lot of people are going to wonder what I'm thinking. You want to talk about something here? First of all, the bloodline, I think Cody Rhodes hit it right on the head in the idea that the bloodline is going to start to fall apart right at the end of WrestleMania. You're going to see Cody Rhodes with the WWE World Unified, Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. That's great and well and good. And we're going to start seeing the breakup of the bloodline. But it just came to me like a vision. You want to have a match that's going to set the tone for WrestleMania? Why not Austin Theory versus John Cena? Thank you very much. Don't forget to tip your waiters.
I'm not going to tip you ever if you're a waiter.
Like I said, that's the one thing. The bloodline is starting to fall apart, and Cody was right on point.
That promo
the idea of where once the title is off of Roman, the Usos are going to vanish. I agree with my broadcast colleague Justin here 100%. Solo Sikoa needs to be broken away. The guy has all the potential of being a certifiable monster.
Doesn't he throw off the Umaga vibes to you? Like his movements, everything,
No. I beg to differ. I think, and this is going to sound strange, especially considering I know how much my broadcast colleague enjoys what I'm going to make this next reference to. He doesn't give me Umaga vibes. He gives me ROH Samoa Joe vibes.
Well, somebody
that can go out there and deliver.
I like that too. But I get the vibes of if they let him run, I think he could be a powerhouse with the personality and the wrestling skills and be a better Goldberg than Goldberg was. Ooh. And give him an undefeated streak.
That's an interesting point of view, Justin.
When the time's right and ready, Survivor Series, pin him up against Cody if Cody still got the belt. And then somehow intertwine Roman still into that mix to keep the bloodline sort of going still.
That is true. Drew, you've heard a lot of comments here. You've been able to take this all in here tonight. What are your thoughts? What is going to be the final chapter in the story of the bloodline?
I just think there's so many ways they can go with it. And I don't think that we've had this unpredictable of a storyline in a long time.
No.
So I think that's really cool. That's one really cool aspect about this. If I had my way, you guys are talking about Solo Sikoa kind of stepping into that next position and kind of being that next person. I would put that position on Jey Uso. Because I think that he's been kind of the focus of the story from the get-go. When we had main event Jey Uso in the Hell in a Cell match a couple years ago with Roman, all the way up until now, the story's been going really, honestly, between Jey and Roman. It's been going that long.
Right, it's going to come full circle. That's why I say I don't think Roman, if he comes back when he comes back for WrestleMania, or not WrestleMania, I'm sorry, SummerSlam.
Get it right.
I'm sorry. I could see Roman Reigns very easily facing Jey Uso at SummerSlam in a big match because never when I've been around wrestling for way too long, way too long. And you kind of know what's going on in the business that you kind of know where they're going with things. For the first time in a long time, I'm not 100% sure that if you would ask me this after Royal Rumble or even before the Royal Rumble and that Cody was going to win the Royal Rumble and he was going to take the title, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm 100% sure that he's going to be the person to dethrone Roman Reigns. Now, I'm not as 100% sure about that. I'm about 75% sure he's going to lose the titles at Mania. But
I get that feeling too. I know what you're saying, big man. I feel like that too.
And it's just like, I don't know. Maybe they're going to try. Maybe they're going to try to drag, because if they drag him on to 1,000 days, it's going to take you into SummerSlam. And yes, I know that there's a rumor that he's going to take some time off, but I mean, I don't know. For once, I'm not 100% sure about what's going to happen at WrestleMania.
Absolutely, I agree, and I think the more this plays out, and the closer we get to WrestleMania, so many people think that Cody is going to be the one. I'm not so sure either, because if he's this close to 1,000 days, why wouldn't they just keep it on? Why wouldn't they just keep going? And then the end result could be maybe Jay going over Roman, or Solo going over Roman, or even Sammy months on down the line. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of different ways they could continue it with Roman as champion without being dethroned by Cody.
Well, Drew, I'm going to throw one out here, and this is one for those of you that are in the greater St. Louis area are going to understand what I'm going to say here. This is striking me with all the potential of Adrian Surge Part 2. Somebody who feels that they're going to get to 1,000 days, and just when you think it's there, that last thing to get you to that next level, and you stumble and fall. I think right now, the fans, as much as they love the Bloodline storyline, I think with Sami Zayn now being out of the equation, it's only going to be a matter of time before we're going to have to see a new avenue. And again, right now, our good friends over at Outside the Ring STL checking in with us tonight. I do know we've had some guests from MMWA who've been checking us out here tonight as well. Again, thank you to everybody who contributes to this program each and every week. And look who it is. It's Sonny Money Mayo. We don't know how many cups of coffee Sonny's had because he's actually just checking in tonight. But real quick, before we go ahead and move things on, Drew, for those that want to follow the one, the only, the man from the beautiful snow-capped mountains of Topeka, Kansas, Drew Chandler, where are you going to be in the next couple of weeks for those who want to keep up with the one and only Drew Chandler?
I am all over the place. I am taking a back seat when it comes to referee bookings, but you can find me on Facebook at Drew Chandler. You can find me on Twitter at Ref Pinky, I think it is. I don't know. I hardly ever look at that. But I go on there sometimes and just kind of scroll, but I'm not sure what my profile name is. You can also find me. I just recently came on as one of the writers for PW Torch, the infamous website. Wade Keller has ran our website all for a lot of years.
God, Wade Keller, he's still around. I didn't even realize he was still around.
I
mean, not to say anything bad about it, but Wade Keller's been around. PW Torch, I think, was one of the first online newsletters I think I got. I mean,
forever he's been around. So I do some different writing for them. You can find my contributions to their website on there as well. I normally do a recap for just AEW Elevation and AEW Dark and sometimes Rampage right now. And then I do also do some opinion articles and things like that. So you can go on PW Torch and find
fantastic, brother,
things that I put on there as well. So that's where I am.
I'm gonna throw one thing out here before we leave, Drew. And again, I totally would be remiss if I didn't talk about this. This is something that's kind of been a hot button topic here in the St. Louis area and kind of a sad topic here in the St. Louis area. And that was the recent passing. I don't know if you had any interactions with him. Sean Patrick O'Brien, a referee at Glory Pro and countless other promotions here in the Midwest, tragically passing away here this past weekend. And I just want to get, again, in the wrestling community, I mean, the wrestling world, there's lots and lots of wrestlers and lots of promotions. But in the world of being a referee, the numbers are smaller.
Yeah.
And again, I wanted to get your thoughts, being a longtime man, the third man in the ring, the individual in the stripes. Did you have any contact, any dealings with Mr. O'Brien and your thoughts?
Okay. Yeah, so I only worked a few events with SPO. I haven't made it up to the St. Louis area a lot as a referee. I have as a fan some, but not a lot as a referee. And I know that's where he did a lot of his work. But a few times I did go down and work as a referee for Ian Rotten down at IWA Mid South, and SPO was there. The few times that I went, he was there. Very gracious, very kind. He had been a referee in the business just a little bit longer than me, so he always had really good pointers for me. And all kinds of nice things to say. He seemed like a genuine guy, a really nice guy. I didn't know him like super deeply, but we did check in with each other over Facebook Messenger a couple different times over the years. And so obviously one of the good ones. You won't find anybody with a bad thing to say about him. He was really a solid dude with a good heart and had a lot of friends in the business, took care of people in the business inside the ring, always made sure the wrestlers were safe, and always just genuinely had fun in the ring. You could just tell by watching him work that he was just having the time of his life every single time. And so,
way too young. He was only I believe he was only 34 when he passed.
God bless him.
And I don't know the specifics of what happened, what took place. I don't know, but I'm thinking a lot of his family and close friends because it's definitely a hard time for them. So,
and I know for a fact too. I want to give a shout out to Grandel Wrestling. I know that they had a moment of silence to recognize SPO this past weekend at STL versus the World 2. And again, you don't want to hear of anybody in the professional wrestling world passing away, let alone somebody who's passed away at the age of 34. One that, again, as you said, Drew, everybody in the world has said nothing but great things about SPO, and he will definitely be missed in the world of professional wrestling. Again, I wanted to thank you for coming on the program and giving your thoughts as well. Once again, the one, the only, the man from the wonderful, glorious, royal, majestic mountains of Snow-Capped Mountains. I forgot that.
yes, okay.
The one, the only, Drew Chandler here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Thank you for joining us, Drew, and we look forward to seeing you again real soon. It's WrestleMania season.
See you guys soon. WrestleMania, baby!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Drew Chandler here on the program. And right now,
unfortunately, Sonny's coming to St. Louis, and I don't know how I feel. Hey, quick, QT Pizza is really, really good.
No, he's talking. He's gonna drop a QT and an pizza.
Gentlemen, I'm going to stop you there. QT is good. Emo's is great, but man, you can't beat a sliced pizza from Casey.
I have
been there.
Okay,
I have never had
pizza.
I'm going to throw it out here, Chris, and Justin. I'm going to get your thoughts here. We're going to have the one, the only, the CEO, DeJuan Mills, on here in just a couple minutes. I got to ask you, Justin, your thoughts, and this is going to be kind of out there. Barbecue beef pizza from Casey's or the taco pizza from Casey's? Your thoughts?
Oh, taco. I don't see. Here's the thing. I'm a really weird guy when it comes to barbecue.
Yes, we know.
I don't like.
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna. You know what? As I said to the lady that cut me in line one day, as the people were bashing her, I'm gonna be above her and not answer that remark.
Got him.
Yeah. Anyways, barbecue sauce I don't like too much. I like it on the side because I don't like sweets with my salts. As you can tell, I don't have a problem with either of them, but I don't like them together. So.
I totally understand here. I mean, I got to tell you, I'm more of the barbecue brisket pizza. I really think it's good. Taco pizza, you can't go wrong with either. Either one of them's good. And I got to say, Casey's, to me, and that's one of the things. And both Chris, you and Justin have met my brother, who's really trained me into being a pizza connoisseur, a pizza review artist, if you will. And I got to tell you, I agree with Justin. When you talk about pizza, you're putting Casey's right up there near the top of the list. I'd say probably top 5 pizzas I've ever had. And that includes, you're talking to somebody who's been to Chicago, who's been to the Northeast, who's been and seen all these different kinds of pizzas. Casey's has got to be right up there near the top.
I've never had Casey's pizza before.
Well, you got to have it. I'm going to go on a rant real quick, if that's okay, gentlemen. About
Go
pizza.
ahead. Go ahead, Justin. We're good here. We're waiting on the CEO here momentarily.
It's going on 10 minutes to 7 my time. I'm going to have a nice little rant here about the Pacific Northwest. I've been here over a year and a half now, and I can't find, to save my life, a good goddamn slice of pizza up here in the Pacific Northwest. Everywhere I go, I'm like, every time we go to a new place, let's say it's called Uncle Nunzio's. I don't know what the hell they call it. I take a bite and I look at my wife, my beautiful, beautiful wife, and go, if I want a piece of, I'm going to cuss. Can I, Jim, I'm going to cuss.
Sure.
If I want a piece of motherfucking Papa John's pizza, I would have ordered a piece of my motherfucking Papa John's pizza. If anyone is listening from the Seattle area, hit me up, because I need to have a good recommendation for pizza, because it's sad when I have to order a frozen Emo's pizza from the goddamn Midwest because I can't get a good goddamn slice of pizza. I'm a 300+ pound man. Yes, I'm built like Fred Ottman, of the natural disasters, Tugboat. I'm beefy and I like my food. Even if you can use that quip if I'm beefy. But I can't get a goddamn pizza to save my fucking life.
Well, a couple things I'm going to throw out here.
You can order Emo's frozen online.
Yeah,
I've done it.
Yes.
But it doesn't taste nearly as good though. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
There's nothing like having a hot Emo's pizza from the store.
And if I want, I'm a Midwest guy. I'm going on a fucking rant. I'm taking the show over for a couple months. Motherfuckers, I love being out here. I found my career calling with the investigating job. I get to do this with you guys. But the food, and I hope I get some people to respond to me and give me shit and tell me where the fuck to go. The food in Seattle sucks. And I don't know why I haven't lost any weight. Well, actually I have. I've lost about, 20, 25 pounds. But it's not of my own doing. It's just because of work and shit. I'm eating the food up here. It sucks. It really, really sucks. I just can't believe, if I want a good steak, I got to go to Outback. You shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to find a mom and pop restaurant that serves a goddamn good steak. Now the seafood, yeah, it's great up here, but I think it's like the only thing they know how to make regularly around here. And there's no White Castle. I miss my White Castles. I'm miserable when it comes to food. It's nice area up here. From now until about October, there'll be no rain. The sun won't set until about 9:30, but food sucks, plain simple.
Well, you know something, Justin? I mean, I gotta agree with you in the idea where it's hard to find a good slice of pizza. And I'm going to tell you, I agree with you. Having an opportunity, and this might be a golden opportunity for a lot of our friends up in the Northwest, guys like our good friend Jeff Manning with Don't Try This, countless other promotions in the Pacific Northwest that would be able to give us information. Maybe we could get a hold of Len Den the Grappler and see if he could give us some insight as well. But something, when it comes down to it, I agree with Justin. When you're out in the Pacific Northwest, it's hard to find good pizza. It's hard to find good burgers. I mean, I agree with the idea that the fish and the seafood is great. And Justin, you hit it right on point. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now, and I know it's going to get me flack. He mentions every character but the one. Ladies and gentlemen, he's talked about Tugboat, he's talked about Typhoon, but he hasn't talked about the Shockmaster. And we're just going to leave that there for the time being and go from there. So, but anyway, seriously though, Justin, before we get you out of here, we do have one question here for you. And this is going to be kind of a unique question before we bring the CEO on here. You've seen all these matches that they haven't determined when they're going to be on Mania. Who are you looking most forward to compete at WrestleMania?
Damn, you know what? I got excited when they announced the Hell in the Cell between Edge and the Demon King, Finn Balor, because I do think they're going to bring out the Demon King for that match. I am excited about the Hell in the Cell because now they're treating it like a treat. I was never a fan of the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. I always enjoyed it when they would surprise someone because it used to be, Hell in a Cell now is like cage matches. They would end a feud with a cage match. And this is the perfect fight right here, the Hell in the Cell. That's one of my, I'm looking forward to the triple threat of Sheamus, McIntyre, and Gunther. They're going to tear the house down. I'm real excited now about Logan Paul against Seth Rollins. That knockout punch last night, boys, that kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, oh shit, he might have to work. Rollins might have to work for that W. So those 3 matches right there were what really have got me piqued my interest in Mania.
Logan Paul should not be this good at wrestling, only having 3 or 4 matches.
I can't believe how great he is. You know what? Him and Jake, they got the mantle gene. They got it to where they were influencers, but they got some athletic DNA in them that they're like duck to water, just like Kurt Angle was with pro wrestling when he first entered professional wrestling. He should have been as good as he was.
Also, another one, Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee shouldn't be this good at wrestling. Yes, he's great on commentary. Yes, he can talk because that's what he does. He's a million miles a minute. I mean, if you see him announce a wrestling show and then you see him announce like he did some NFL games, I'm like, people are like, oh my God, this Pat McAfee. He's like so annoying. I'm like, well, that's Pat McAfee. He's being Pat McAfee. That's who he is. I mean, but when he wrestled Adam Cole and he was in the War Games match and, he wrestled he wrestled Theory last year at WrestleMania, I believe. He's naturally athletic.
And Vince McMahon. Well, guys,
and he wrestled Baron Corbin too.
That is true, and
unfortunately, we forget about that because it's Baron Corbin. He's boring. So,
well, I'm going to tell you right now, we have our we have our own match set up. One of them that I think is going to be a sleeper match of the whole 2-night extravaganza, and I'm just going to use it in like a half a dozen words: Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. Enough said.
Maybe that's your match to kick off night 1 of WrestleMania.
That I could see that as well. Well, Justin, I know that you're a very busy man. You're going to be tuning in here for part 2 of the Wrestle Talk podcast here in a few moments. Any final thoughts before we move on to our next featured guest here this evening?
Yes, I saw one of the high spot questions. I don't know if you brought it up about the non-WWE competitors being in the Hall of Fame. Great Muta. He should be in there without a doubt. Because, they put Antonio Inoki in. I really do believe if you change the landscape of professional wrestling like those 2 men did, then by God, put them in. Just like Vern Gagne, I believe he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. Harley Race did do some time in WWE, but anyone that has not done any time, that has changed the landscape of the game, they should be in the Hall of Fame. Also, real quick, and I'm real pissed that AEW is kind of dropping the ball on this. Tomorrow night, Sting's coming back to the ring in a 6-man tag. Dynamite tomorrow night. He hasn't wrestled, they said, in the United States in over a year. So everybody, that AEW fans, they shouldn't miss that. Boys, I had fun as hell, but I gotta go try to calm a client down. So
well, you have fun. You have fun with that, and don't end up there. Don't end up having to stay there.
Well, let's just say my role in the criminal justice system is not the biggest role of cops liking me, because I'm usually on the defense side, so I have to bother the cops. Integrity and bothered, but I'm a seedy motherfucker. Who cares? You guys have a good show. I love you guys, and thanks for letting me come on.
All right, Justin.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Wade here on the program. You know what? We're just going to keep it right on rolling here, Chris. It's time for the one, the only. It's time for the FWWC tonight here on the program. And if you're going to talk the FWWC, you're going to be talking about the one, the only, the originator, the innovator, the one man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the program tonight the CEO of the FWWC, Mr. Dewan Mills. Dewan, how are you doing, my friend? You know what? It's 24 hours away. AEW, it's knocking on the door. How you feeling, my friend?
Did I hear correctly? Did my ears? I know I got my headphones in, but did I hear that the Hall of Famer, the man, the icon, the Sting will be in Kansas City at AEW tomorrow? Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I've heard as well.
He's going to be in a 6-man tag with Darby Allin and I believe it's Orange Cassidy versus Butcher Blade and Kip Sabian, I believe.
Woo, so this is why I'm excited. No, I didn't go to the WWE show because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and this is one thing. St. Louis got a few legs up on us, I'll be honest. But the one thing that St. Louis has up on Kansas City, no doubt, is y'all get better booked WWE shows than we ever will. I bullshit you not. Listen to me. St. Louis, for whatever reason, has better book shows. You have better book pay-per-views. You probably have better book Raws. Anything associated with WWE, St. Louis gets the top-notch performance. What does Kansas City get? Weak-ass, sorry-ass, weak book SmackDowns. And I'm sick of it. SmackDown last Friday was okay, but I'm glad I didn't go.
Well, Dewan, I can tell you right now.
Are you going to be in? Are you going to be in attendance at AEW?
Yes, sir, I am. So
I know it's not technically Kansas City. It's actually, I believe, Independence, Missouri. Independence, Missouri, close to Kansas City, at the Cable Dahmer Arena, I believe.
So here's the gimmick behind that. If I got a little bit, I'm gonna tell you the gimmick behind the whole reason why I'm going. So I am a former employee of Cable Dahmer here in Kansas City. Technically, a Cable Dahmer Collect company. Basically, our job was to just pick up vehicles from the customer, take them to the dealership, have them fixed, blah, blah, blah. Then myself, would bring the vehicle back to the customer. Simple as that. Did that for about 4 months. The deal is that since we were Cable Dahmer employees, we got access to box seats at any venue or any event that Cable Dahmer Arena had. That includes the hockey games. That includes arena football. That includes concerts. If it's at the arena, then guess what? We as employees are allowed to go when we're given tickets. Well, here's the deal. My buddy, ended up getting 4 tickets. Now, I didn't get these tickets. My buddy, my former coworker at the time, got 4 tickets. He kept 2. He gave me 2. Now, I am no longer an employee at Cable Dahmer Collect, but I still got the tickets. So that's how you work the gimmick. So my ass is going to roll in there tomorrow with a smile on my face, in the box seats, waving
to everybody.
Hey, how y'all doing? I ain't worked here, but life moves on. Had to get a different job, but I'm excited because I never had the opportunity to go to a WCW show as many times as I came to Kansas City in the 90s. And I'm excited about AEW, man. I'm excited to see the Acclaimed have arrived. Like, I got to listen. Like, I'm excited, man. The energy is up. I'm good to go, and I'm ready. It's on and popping, man.
Well, right now, I got to tell you here, CEO, we got a lot to talk about here tonight on the FW.
We do.
Part of the program. Chris, be so kind. Let's go ahead and throw up the information for Friday Night Fights here tonight. And CEO, we got 2 cards here, stuff. Do you want to go ahead and talk to us about these matchups here tonight?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I know you guys have got a lot of time. So, this week is Champ's Choice, meaning all champions of the FWWC get to book their own matches. They get to choose their own show because next week is Universe Mania 9 week, and there will be no matches, all role play. So this Friday, we will see Sick, our FWWC European champion, in a 3-way tables match against Lecter and Susie Hoss. In addition, we're going to see Ace, our current FWWC Hardcore champion, versus Funky Flex, our current FWWC Spartan Charge champion. And last but not least, we will see Marcus Mayhem, who was victorious against El Luchador this past Monday, our FWWC World Heavyweight Champion, against one half of the FWWC Tag Team Champions. That is Bishop. That is Friday, and those are the last official book matches before FWWC Universe Mania 9. Let's go through the damn card, baby. I'm going to go as fast as possible because I know y'all got a whole show to do.
Hold up, CEO.
What's up? Uh-oh.
We can't. I mean, again, I know you want to get through things. We got a great interview coming up here in a few minutes, and Chris is going to bring it back up. But this is Universe Mania 9. This is the FWWC Cornerstone event. We got to make sure that we give this event its just due, because this is going to be, as you say, the top of the list, the top of how things are in the world of the FWWC. And, of course, if we can get the graphics to cooperate with us here, I know that the Big Sexy's taking care of it, but we're going to be going here. Let's go ahead here and look from the beginning here. And our first matchup here, CEO, I'll throw it back to you.
Yes, sir. FWC European Championship match. It will be the Sick One, our current FWC European Champion, versus Oni, 2 former members of the same faction. They've been going back and forth for a while. This is going to be one hell of a crazy-ass match. I don't know the stipulations yet, but they will be coming out shortly. Next match. Let's hit it, baby. Let's go. This one is interesting, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen, we have heard, we have watched. Now it's time to put up or shut up. El Mata Ratas, our FWWC Warriors Heart Champion, will put his title on the line against the Alpha. Some say the Alpha isn't ready. I know the Alpha has been on the Wrestle Talk podcast many times, helping with the hosting. I got my opinions. All I want to see is a good-ass match, man, and a match worthy of Universe Mania 9, one of our co-main events, ladies and gentlemen. Another main event. This has been crazy. We want to call that guy Hollywood because he is part of Hollywood. Universe Mania 9 is coming from Hollywood, so let's get Hollywood in the game. Marcus Mayhem, our current FWC World Heavyweight Champion, going against none other than Moby Lee. And this match, as I said before, Moby Lee's all glitz, he's all glamour, he's all A, he's all Hollywood, but I think Marcus Mayhem is going to put a shutdown to that. Let's roll, baby. Let's keep it going. Another interesting match. FWC World Tag Team Championship match. Prophets of Madness defending their titles against the Lucha Legends. No ties, must be a winner, no trivia, no sudden death. In the losing team, an event there is a loser, that team must disband. That includes Lucha Legends and Prophets of Madness if either one of those teams lose. Next match, we will have an FWC Spartan Star Championship match. Funky Flex, our current champion, versus Robert. That's been going wild the past couple weeks. We will also have coming up at Universe Mania 9 as he clicks the button.
He clicked the wrong button, CEO.
My cousin, it's all good, man. Funky Flex, yep.
There
All right, this has been some shit too. Ace, who is our current FWC Hardcore Champion, and those two guys have been going crazy. This is a Falls Count Anywhere match. He'll be defending his title against Hardcore Hoss, Roland, and I think we already went through that. But the one I wanted to announce, this is new. This has just been dropped today. This was just put together today. The BOD just signed the black ink on it. Our FWC Hybrid Television Champion, Swag, will defend this title in a triple threat match against Susie Haas and Cannibal Lecter. Boys, a lot of people give me slack. They say E-Feds and fantasy wrestling and all this shit is weird, but let me tell y'all something. This is real booking. This is real timing. This is real commitment. I take my time to talk to all these individuals. I take my time to set these matches up. We have conversations. It's like a business. So we work our ass off. This is no different than Dungeons and Dragons and whatever. What else you guys play? Magic the Gathering, all that other nerdy shit. This is our deal. This is our staple. This is our big event. This is our Super Bowl. This is Universe Mania 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've done 9 of these son of a bitches, y'all. Can you believe it?
So 10 is going to be huge for you next year. Next year it's going to be off the chain.
We're thinking about doing something big for 10. Now that the world is finally getting back in order, we're having rumors. Actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, for those people who are listening, and you might want to check in your local town too. Do you guys have a Dave & Buster's in St. Louis at all? Anywhere near close to St. Louis?
Yes, we do. We've got one about 30 minutes from where I'm at. And again, it's a pretty big location for those that are here in the St. Louis area. The one that's in Earth City, nice size location. Make it a point to check them out. Again, shameless plug for Dave & Buster's. Maybe one day they can become a sponsor of the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Also, rumor has it, not even a rumor, we have confirmed that Dave & Buster's will be showing WrestleMania on both nights here in Kansas, not in Missouri, in Kansas. We confirmed, no entry fee, no cover fee. Take your ass in there and enjoy WrestleMania on night 1 and night 2, completely free. Now, myself and the Night Owl might entertain that, but I've kind of got accustomed. You guys see my area, you see my room, you see where I'm comfortable in. I kind of got accustomed to being in my own spot watching wrestling because, you got the loud ass kids. They're going to be. Now, I'm not saying I won't go, but think about it. You got those loud ass kids with the candy in their hands, talking all crap, and the video game. Damn it, I'm trying to watch Roman Reigns kick Cody Rhodes' ass, okay? And I can't hear that shit over Deal or No Deal. But it's all good. We'll think about it. We'll converse about it, and we'll see if we can get down, baby. But it's all good. It's going to be crazy. And Universe Mania 9, WrestleMania is next week. I'm excited about it. We were talking about matches we were excited about. I'll let you guys go with this one. I want to see father versus son, damn it. For the first time in WWE history, I want to see Dominic Mysterio take on the now WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio, baby. First time in WrestleMania history, to my understanding, father-son competing against each other. Though Rey is not accepting the match yet, this is going to be good. Hold on, Luke. You're holding your hand up. What's popping?
Well, I'm gonna look at it this way. You got to get technical on it. You want to get technical. This is going to be the first father versus son, wrestler versus wrestler match because you got to go back to Vince and Shane.
Good point.
Time. But again, I agree with you. It's a matchup I want to see, but I don't think we're going to see it at Mania. I don't.
What?
No. I think they down the road, and I think there's going to be something special with it. My thought, and this is going to be really strange, my thought, 2 of them at Survivor Series.
We're really going to run this program to November?
Yeah. I think we could see it. I really do. It's going to be a long stretch, but only time will
You're
tell.
talking going past SummerSlam too, Luke.
Mm-hmm. But again,
I want some of what he's smoking.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that a lot of people have been saying, and I've heard it on various media outlets, is the idea that Ray's nearing the end. One of the things he's talked about is if he's going to finally give up the mask and retire, he wants to have it being an importance and going potentially to Dominic.
When doesn't it get more important than WrestleMania when he's going into the Hall of Fame?
I don't think you've got you've had the build for it, but I don't think you've had enough time to really justify giving him that.
And I have to agree with you. I kind of have to agree with you because, again, it's been minimal at best build up until now. So with WrestleMania being next week, they got to go full steam on this shit Friday and next Monday and possibly next Friday. So I kind of see where you're going with there.
And I'll tell you right now, if we get it for WrestleMania, we're going to get Cena versus The Undertaker. That's my thoughts. And we don't need that for this kind of a matchup. But CEO, like I said, for those that are going to be in the greater Kansas City, Independence, Missouri area, make it a point tonight. The Night Owl and the CEO going to be in the house for AEW Dynamite. They're not only going to see Sting, but they're going to see the one, the only, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the man with the triple B, MJF. And I got to tell you, that man has delivered when it comes to the world of AEW. And I got to admit, I'm a little bit jealous over the fact that tomorrow night you're going to see MJF in the AEW ring.
But y'all just had Raw, dog. Y'all had one of the biggest. Did you hear the pipe bomb Roman Reigns dropped? You couldn't do it here. You couldn't do it so you ran off like a little bitch. And it was a great pipe bomb. It was a great promo.
Well, I agree with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the CEO, the man behind the FWWC. You get a chance tomorrow night, AEW Dynamite in Independence, Missouri. Check out him and the Night Owl. And I got to tell you, CEO, Universe Mania. Next week, we're going to have you on the program, not just for Universe Mania, but we got to talk all things WrestleMania. And if you're going to talk that,
yes, sir,
you got to talk to the one, the only, the CEO.
Dewan, we'll see you
next week right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Wish me good luck. Hope they let my ass in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO here on the program. Now, we have one more thing to go here. We're going to be joined by the Queen of Lariats, Ashlyn Alexandar, in just a few moments. But, of course, if we're going to follow up the FWWC, it's almost become a tradition here that we follow it up with a man of great importance, a man who brings a lot of information each and every week to the program. And Chris, is our next guest backstage?
Yes.
All right, here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll just let the music do the intro.
What's up? What's up?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one, the only Big Daddy P here on the WTP tonight. Big Daddy, how are you been doing? It's been a while since we got a chance to talk. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, what happened last week?
Last week? That was the Maestro's fault.
We fired that intern, so
that's all good.
That's true. That is true. Well, Big Daddy, I know we got a lot of things going on here. I got to ask you, because I said it's been almost 6 weeks since we've had an opportunity to talk. How in the world have you been? I mean, I know things are getting ready. We're getting into the springtime season. I'm a level with you, and I'm going to kind of break the fourth wall here for a little bit. For many people that don't know, I've got a lot of family in the professional wrestling field that are in the greater Tennessee area. And a matter of fact, in the next few weeks, I'm going to have some more family moving down to the greater Pigeon Forge area in Tennessee as well. And again, it's giving more and more incentive to make my way down to Tennessee and hang out with the one, the only Big Daddy P. I got to ask you, how you been doing, Barry?
It's been cold, man. You know, once the time change happened, it's like we went back to winter. But listen, I could complain, but who wants to hear it anyway? Anybody who listens to this segment, they listen to this segment because they know they're going to get some snippets of truth. Now, I do want to mention two things about WrestleMania because I've been listening to the show. I've heard, and nobody's talked about this, which means this could be a spoiler.
Spoiler. Ready.
I want you to imagine John Cena, Austin Theory. John Cena's ahead, doing well, and all of a sudden you hear, no chance. And here comes Vince. A distraction, boom, A-Town, downtown. That's it.
Ooh.
Number one. Number
Okay.
two, Roman Reigns will not be losing because Cody and Roman want to be on AEW Rivals. And the only way they can do that is have more than one match. I do know, by the way, to add a third, the Usos will lose the belt to Kevin and to Sami Zayn. Those are my three predictions. I'm just saying I could be wrong. The last time we did this, I was wrong about Brock Lesnar. So I do want to stand corrected on that. But let's get to the most important part, and that's the snippet of truth, because I can't wait to hear about Ashlyn Alexandar and all that's going on there. But let me tell you, if you are a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, and 22 years ago, I didn't know the Lord, okay? I had no clue. I was down and out. I was in one of the worst situations I've ever been in my life. And when I heard the good news, which is why it's called good news, it's refreshing. That is when I accepted it, okay? Because I really had nowhere else to go. But I remember the pastor stating to me, well, once you accept Christ, man, everything is going to be good and it'll really change your life. And that's kind of a misnomer because I ran into a scripture today that really made it super clear. And it's found in Psalm, and it's chapter 56. And here, a brother, friend, associate of David, when the Philistines seized him in Gath, said to God directly, be gracious to me, God, for a man has trampled upon me. Fighting all day long, he oppresses me. My enemies have trampled upon me all day long, for they are many who fight proudly against me. Now watch this. He says, when I am afraid, I will put my trust in you. And he was talking to God. So I want to remind you that, yes, God knows everything and he knows what you're going through. But maybe you're going through what you're going through because there's something you need to learn. And I can promise you, he is faithful. I didn't write the words, come to me who are weary and tired, and I will give you rest. So if you are feeling tired, if you're going through a bunch of junk, and let me tell you, Mr. and Mrs. Hartman, we've been going through a lot, okay? And I don't want to get into all the details only because of time, but to make a long story short, my wife, who's been in the window washing business for 16 years, had 2 rotator cuff surgeries this last year, and she can't do it. Now she's selling ice cream at Dairy Queen, okay? It's a bit humbling, but the good news is, and if you're a prayer warrior, we need to pray for the owners of Dairy Queen there because they are Hindu, and they're not a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, and she just loves everybody. So please, if you can just add in your prayers that, because we know that's the reason why the Lord has her there. But that is your snippet of truth. It doesn't get any better than that. So if you are discouraged, if you're having a rough time, give him a hearing. Trust him. I promise you, he won't let you down.
So I know we're about to go into the for your final word, but I would be remiss if we lost the local referee in the St. Louis area and the Midwest area this past week. Sean Patrick O'Brien, SPO, passed away Friday, and he was only 34 years old. So if we can include him, so Perry, you want to send us out with a word of Luke, what's the word I'm looking? I am terrible with words today.
Actually, before we get too much farther along, I'm going to tell you right now. I did get another one personally within my own family. A lot of big things are going to be rocking and rolling here in the greater St. Louis area. Chris, I know you're privy to some of them. They're going to start up tomorrow, and they're going to rock and roll here, both for myself and my wife, as well as my brother, somebody that you know very well. A lot of things pretty positive going on, but I mean, again, it's always be good to have the support, not only of Big Daddy P, but the support of the Wrestle Talk family as well. A lot of big things going on here in the world. And I know there's a lot of things that are going unannounced, unspoken here tonight as well.
So,
and just remember too that when they had the Last Supper, Christ took the bread, he blessed the bread, he broke the bread, and he gave the bread. So right now, if you're being blessed and all is well, buckle up and get ready, because there'll be some breaking. But once you get through that breaking, he will then use you. Don't think for one moment that God is not using us to make a difference. Let me tell you, Facebook is one of the greatest evangelistic tools in history. And I can't tell you how just a simple word of hope is needed today, because we live in a world filled with a lot of anger, mean, hatred, and we know that's what the Bible says it was going to be. But he says, do not lose hope. Do not fear, for I am with you. I have overcome the world. So if you are a believer and you are under persecution, rest. There's a reason why you're going through what you're going through. In the meantime, let's pray. And thank you guys again for this opportunity. It is a privilege. I'm telling you, it is a privilege. And I don't take it lightly, because if one person tonight is down and out, and this gives them encouragement, man, we've done our job. Father God, we thank you so much for your love and for your faithfulness and for your kindness. Father, we know that you tell us that there is no one but you, no other God but you. Matter of fact, Lord, I'm reminded that of all the religious books ever created in the world, yours is the only one called your word. That's why it's alive and powerful. That's why we can trust it. So I thank you for Wrestle Talk. I pray that you continue to bless their families, that you continue to encourage them. For the request that we've received, Father, we know loss. We know you understand loss, because we know that you gave of yourself. You sacrificed yourself in order that we would have eternal life. And so we're thankful for the gospel. We thank you for this time. Father, I thank you for those that are trying to walk in your light in a world filled with darkness. It is not easy, but we know that with you, we can accomplish anything. So please, Lord, bless those who are watching. Continue to encourage them. Father, especially all those who are about to get ready for WrestleMania. There are hundreds of thousands of people who are going to be, well, there are probably at least 100,000 that are going to make their way to Los Angeles. We pray for Journey Mercies. We also pray for all the wrestlers, that you continue to heal them and strengthen them, especially those who are injured and out. We know that WWE does provide for them, and we're just so thankful that we can have this show. We're so thankful that we can be a part of your plan, and the fact that we can be co-workers with you in times such as these is truly a blessing. I thank you for my brothers and sisters in Christ, and I just ask these things in the name of the one that saved me, Jesus Christ, in whose name I pray. Amen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Big Daddy P. Now, Big Daddy, I'm a level one more thing before you go. Next week, we're going to be finishing that road to WrestleMania. And I'm going to tell you right now, we always have you on for the snippets of truth. We always have you on each and every week. But I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to take a very special look, if you're willing, into the world of Big Daddy P and his thoughts of WrestleMania. Would you be up to that next week?
I'm always up to this, man. I mean, this, I look forward to Tuesdays, one, because I get to see what Stax is going to do. I'm watching him grow. Man, I remember when I met Jake Tucker, which is actually not even his real name either, but Stax, when he came and worked for 3 of our shows, and he was so passionate about it. And now to watch NXT and to watch him and Tony and watch how God is, man, it's unbelievable how satisfying that to be a part of this industry and to watch people grow and to watch people become superstars, and then they don't take it for granted. So I'd love to do it, brother.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard him, the one, the only Big Daddy P here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Perry, thank you for coming on the program as you do each and every week. And like I said, next week we're on the road to WrestleMania, not just with the Wrestle Talk podcast, but with the CEO and Big Daddy P rolling right along with us. Perry, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Until next time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our feature presentation, our feature interview of the evening. And I'm going to tell you right now, Chris, I got to tell you this. I had the opportunity to sit behind a microphone and had the opportunity to call many of this young ladies' matches. But you have really had the opportunity to learn about our guest this evening, to see her compete in the ring. And just like you do when you're at Dynamo Pro Wrestling, you do such an awesome introduction of our featured guest this evening. I'm going to turn things over to you for the introduction tonight of tonight's Wrestle Talk podcast featured guest.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome to the program for the very first time. She currently is the MMWA Women's Heavyweight Championship, and this a couple weeks she's going to be taking on Shy Lynn from the Kansas City area. And for some reason, her theme song didn't save right. For some reason, I'm an idiot, I guess. But we're gonna bring her in. She is the queen of the lariats, Ashlyn Alexandar. Ashlyn, how's it going tonight?
It's going.
Ashlyn, it's a pleasure having you. What's going on in your world? Anything exciting?
Man, not really. Just, I mean, if you want to count yesterday going to Raw.
Did you have a good time?
Oh yeah, that was actually my first live event that I've been to, so it was really neat. It was crazy.
Well, you know something, Chris? I'm going to throw this out here because you and I have had the opportunity to experience this. Did you have anybody last night when you were at Raw in St. Louis, Missouri, be able to come up to you and say, "Hey, I know you. I know who you are"?
I think one, and I think it was a girl from Broadway from MMWA, but yeah, that was about it.
It's still kind of weird whenever we're out and about. And you're don't think people are like, "Hey, I know you from Dynamo." I'm like,
"Oh yeah,
yeah." It's weird. So I want to talk about what got you into wrestling. What is your first wrestling memory that you can remember just watching on TV?
Man, I was maybe 6 or 7, and my older brother and my older cousin got me watching it. And then I was their little test dummy to do moves on and to beat up, and yeah, that was a good time. But
Luke knows a little bit about that because his brother was a wrestler, and he probably practiced a whole bunch of moves on.
Oh yeah.
I will share the story though. Everything was good until I was about 6, 7, and as Chris knows, my brother was a wrestler, and he's a considerably larger fellow than I am. And I got introduced to, instead of getting introduced to be throwing up in the air, I got thrown up through part of the attic. And that was, I think, the last time that my brother and I had any of those kinds of experiences until we got into the ring several years later.
Funny.
So, but I would be remiss to ask you, Ashlyn, you talk about being brought into the professional wrestling and watching it with your family. What makes you make the transition from being a fan of professional wrestling to actually getting in the ring? I know that I've had the opportunity to talk to you plenty of times about your love of professional wrestling, and it shows inside the ring. But what makes you somebody with your ability, and I will say this, your knowledge, you're a very smart individual when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. What makes you make that decision? What flips that switch to say, I see it on TV, but I belong inside the squared circle?
I thought it was just something different. Usually you don't see women being into that. So and still when somebody asks me what do you do in your free time? I'm like, "Oh, I'm a professional wrestler." They're like, no way. I thought it was something different that I could do because I tried sports and everything, and basketball, volleyball, that was fun. But this, I'm in the moment and I get to be myself and everything, and I just get to take in everything.
And when you get angry, you can take someone's head off with a clothesline.
Chris, I told you in the production meeting, this is a woman who throws a lariat. And I'm going to tell you, for those that haven't had a chance to see Ashlyn Alexandar in the ring, every time I see her throw a lariat, 2 words pop into my head. And it's not ow or oh. The 2 words pop into my head are Stan Hansen. When she throws that lariat, you know that, like I said, it's on. And
I've been told that.
Yeah,
I've been told that a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those where, I mean, there are a handful of people who throw a super effective clothesline. To me, Stan Hansen is one, Rick Steiner is one,
JBL,
Bradshaw Layfield is one, and I gotta say, if you're looking at the list, and this again, not trying to be make you feel even higher level than you already are, but I gotta tell you, when it comes to the local scene, I haven't seen too many people throw a lariat, male or female, quite like you do, Ashlyn. I mean, again, props to you, because that is a move that literally you can take somebody's head off, and you do it so effectively. So, Chris, I'm gonna go ahead and throw things back over to you.
A question. I always like to ask this. Whenever the first time you took you guys trained for this, and I mean, Luke probably knows this. The first time you took a back bump, whenever the first back bump that you took, what were the thoughts that went through your head as you're laying there on the mat?
So, okay. Do you care if I share I share the story of it?
Oh,
it's really funny.
Like said, the only thing is, like I said, we're willing to let you tell any story that you want to, but again, don't worry about it, because I've embarrassed myself plenty of times on this show. Chris has embarrassed himself plenty of times this evening. So, I mean, again, it's one of those things where if you can share your stories here. We're all a part, as we say, of the Wrestle Talk family.
Oh, it's great. You guys will get a kick out of it. So, this was maybe 4 or 4.5 years ago, maybe. And I was at CIPW, I think. I don't think they're a company right now, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. But that's where I was, and I was going as a fan, and I was with Sid Holland and Tommy Davis and Elride. So I happened to be there. And so Sid was like, "Come on, like, get in the ring, take a bump, blah blah blah," because he was who got me mainly into wrestling and first started helping me learn like the basics and everything. So it was before the show. There was not a lot of people, but there was too many people for my liking. And so Tommy ended up like full blown hands and knees, and I sat on his back, and Sid Holland like pushed me back, and Elride was standing behind to catch me in case I got like scared or whatever. And that's how I took my first bump. So that was always a fun story to tell people.
What was the feeling? Did it hurt? Did you like think like what went through your mind as your back hit the ground?
Honestly, I thought like, okay, this isn't as scary as what it seems. A lot of people, even like today, like with training with the new people, they'll come in and I see how like nervous they are to take a back bump or like whatever. And I was like, man, that was me once. So like, I know that feeling, but I was so nervous, but in all honesty, once I got it like done and over with, I was ready to do more and just keep going. So it was just like a nervous feeling that I had to just get over, do it, and then I was fine.
You know, Chris, that and Ashlyn, that sounds like a lot like one of my first matches. And Chris, you remember the legacy of the MVWA.
Mm-hmm.
I had an opportunity. I was going to be in a street fight. And I'll tell you right now, true story, I'm 17 years old, might weigh 115 pounds. And the two guys were wrestling were legitimately, and a lot of people say, oh, well, they're characters. No, they were both legitimate military representatives of our country. One was in the Army, one was in the Marines. And I'm like totally stressing out because I'm like, I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to get hurt bad. I always had this vision of Burgess Meredith's character in Rocky. He's not going to hurt you bad. He's going to hurt you permanent. And I'm sitting there and I'm pacing in the locker room and I'm sweating. And all of a sudden I hear this in the background. It's like, what's the matter, kid? I'm nervous. I'm going to get hurt. It's like, if you're nervous about getting in the ring, you don't need to get in the ring. You need to go out there and do what's there. You're going to hurt tomorrow? Fine. Worry about that tomorrow. And that stuck with me all through my career in the ring and outside the ring. And that man was the legendary Handsome Harley Race.
Yeah, yes.
And it's one of those things when you get out there and you get in the ring. I mean, we've heard lots of stories. I mean, I remember a good friend of ours, the late Izzy Blackwell, and Harsh, a member of the Pro Wrestling Epic roster, learning how to wrestle in a friend of ours' backyard. Not in a ring, not on a trampoline, but learning to take falls on the ground. So, I mean, to be
everyone started somewhere. It seems like everyone started in their backyard as kids, and then took it to the ring. And I know you were a longtime member of the CHWA roster with Chris Exodus. He is one of the ones that trained you. But lately, you've been training with Sadie Blaze and Ricky Cruz, and I know I know both of them mean a whole lot to you. Tell us what you feel about your feelings towards Sadie Blaze and Ricky Cruz. We'll start with Sadie.
Oh man, Sadie. I love Sadie. He just in general, he is such a great human being. Like, he has such a big heart. He's so funny. Like, he's always there if you ever need like advice, like wrestling or personal life. He's there. Like, he's just always somebody that you can count on.
What about Ricky Cruz?
Oh boy. Ricky. He's crazy, but he also has a very big heart, and he's someone that like took me under his wing and showed me a lot of things and a lot of places and helped me get where I am today. Same with Sadie. So if it wasn't like for both of them helping me, I don't know where I'd be with wrestling.
Ashlyn, I'm gonna throw this out here at you, just to make a night and day comparison to those of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. You're talking so nice about Sadie Blaze. You're talking so nice about Ricky Cruz. I'm gonna tell you right now, when you talk about our broadcast colleague here, you talk about Sadie Blaze. You're talking about a man who threatened to light him on fire.
It's true. He brought. He was in a feud with Surge at the time, and he brought a box, and he said it was a present for me, and he threatened to set me on fire several times on Facebook, and knowing Sadie, you probably are like, yeah, that doesn't really surprise me. He brought a box that said was a present for me. It had two gasoline jugs. Those the like gasoline jugs for your lawnmower in it, and I dropped it, and I was like, that's not cool, man. That's not cool.
Well, Chris, at least it's better than the first time I got introduced to Ricky Cruz. I was introduced him many years ago, and as he's walking in the ring, he's like, if you don't say my name right, I'm going to super kick your chin off your face.
That sounds like something to say.
As soon as I got the introduction, I have never left a ring that fast in my life. I don't think I can do it ever again. But I mean, when it comes down to it, you got two people who know the wrestling industry, both in the Midwest and as well as internationally as well.
Oh yeah.
And we would be remiss. He's bringing up the comments. So Chris, as one of the things with the Wrestle Talk podcast, we always are interactive, and we got to bring it up here because he made the comment, what about Shaft?
Oh, Shaft, not Shaft. No, Shaft is great.
Best dressing man in the business.
Oh yeah. He especially with his little pointy shoes that he wears.
Yes.
Have you seen those?
Yes. Every show
I love those.
He's got those pointy shoes.
Yep.
I mean, I know you're kind of arguing with him right now because at the last MMWA show you joined the Kings of the Revolution apparently with JSO, Dallas Stevens, Mark Bland, Blake Steele, and Tommy Davis.
Hold up. I'm gonna throw something out here. And you know where I'm going to stand. I've heard the stories about Mark Bland. I get the whole Kings of the Revolution deal. I get it. But my question to you is this, Ashlyn. What convinces you, somebody with the reputation of a Mark Bland, what motivates you to be involved with somebody like him? I mean, he's always given me just this really creepy vibe, and you're hanging out with the guy. What gives you?
You know, it's not just him, it's with the whole group. They're just taking over, and I've been trying to do that as well. So why not just join in with them to help take over?
Well, my question to you is this. Since you've joined the Kings of the Revolution, what have you taken? I mean, again, it's only been a little bit of time. But what have you taken from being a part of such a group? I mean, I've talked with Chris on countless occasions. I've also talked with a good friend of mine, Dr. Drew Abenhouse from SICW. I've talked with Ben Simon. I've talked with several other announcers throughout the area. What have you, as the newest member of this group, taken from them in such a short period of time?
They know what they're doing. They're always on point. They're never missing anything. Everything that happens, we're watching over everything, no matter what, no matter where it is, who it is, how old you are, where you are, none of that. It's everything. We got our eyes on everything.
Okay.
So
Well, go ahead, Chris.
I want to go back to when you actually won the MMWA Women's Championship. It hasn't been that long ago. And I want to tie it into women's wrestling here in the St. Louis area in general. What was the feeling that night at Broadway in front of a big crowd of people? Because there's nothing like a South Broadway Athletic Club crowd.
Oh yeah, I love that crowd.
What did it feel? Because I believe in the finals you pinned Shylin, if I'm not mistaken, and she's going to be your next opponent. What did it feel to raise that title at South Broadway Athletic Club?
Man, it was like a dream come true. It was crazy because I think it was 9 years that title was vacant, and to be the first woman to hold it since they had it last, it was so real. Like it was just crazy to me. Like I can't even put into words how I felt that night. It was just so exciting, and it felt like a part of like my childhood was like complete at that point. Like a childhood dream came true.
Yeah, I mean it's because I wasn't there, but I saw the video of it, that when Christopher Miles raised your hand, you looked like you had a few tears in your eyes after.
Oh yeah, I was crying like a baby.
That's okay, but women's wrestling in St. Louis, and this has always been a problem, and Luke will probably attest to this, that women's wrestling it's always been a problem in the Missouri area, getting women to come into the St. Louis area, get into the Missouri area.
Yeah.
What do we have to do to get more wrestlers in? What do you think is missing?
Man, honestly, I just think it's the lack of like, okay. I'm trying to think of how I could put it into words. So I feel like the women, like Missouri isn't, with like the Missouri wrestling scene, I feel like it's not as like large as where it is elsewhere. But I feel like if some people would just give it a chance, and like I know with the Missouri license, like that's a pain, but I feel like it's worth it. 100% it's worth it, because some places that I've been to outside of Missouri, like especially being at South Broadway, like just the energy that crowd gives, and same with Dynamo, like just the energy that the crowd gives, it's something different. And everywhere you go, the crowd is always going to be different. Some places the crowd is mixed. Some places they're always like high energy. Sometimes they're not really feeling it. So, but with Missouri, I feel like they're always up there with the energy, and they're always on their feet. They're always chanting, booing. So I just feel like it's a fun place to be. So I wish more females would give it a chance and just be able to stand there and just soak it all in.
Because it's always been a problem. Because I remember back, the women's matches, there's like maybe one on a card, and I know we're probably doing that now, but it just seems like there's like this group. They all come in together, and then they all move on. Because for a while there, we had Savannah, Tootie, and Rain all at one spot. They, Tootie's moved on to much bigger and better things. So is Rain. Savannah's in California. Oh yeah. And right now, it's kind of, in MMWA world and Dynamo world and PW, you kind of only got like you and Maddie, and you and Maddie have put on really good matches. So, it just, Luke, was it like that back when you were wrestling?
Well, Chris, I'm gonna level here, and again, maybe it's because it's showing my age, maybe because I'm just that old. But I mean, you go back and you talk about the history of the MMWA Women's Championship, and you talk about the likes of an Alexis Lightfoot. You talk about the likes of a Christy Summers. You talk about the likes of a Dynamite Jennifer Starr. You talk about wrestlers like Tara the Irish Terror. You talk about wrestlers like Big Mama Love. And again, it's one of those where it's always kind of struck me that wrestling has kind of gone in waves. And I mean, again, I would also be remiss if I don't talk about the days of wrestlers like Mischief and Daisy Hayes, who, and I'll say this, Ashlyn Alexandar, she makes no bones about it. She'll go in there and wrestle anybody. I remember a matchup at Chris, and you remember this one very well, at the basically the staple for Dynamo Pro Wrestling, the Dynamo Pro Wrestling Cinco de Mayo Festival. Are part with that in the greater Cherokee Street area. And I believe last year it was Ashlyn Alexandar and her fellow member of the Kings of the Revolution, Tommy Davis, taking on Joey O'Reilly and Reign Victoria. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ashlyn always strikes me as one of those where it doesn't matter who you are. If you're in that ring and you cross her, it's go time.
Oh yeah, always.
And it's one of those things where when you sit there and you look at it, and Chris, I'm a level with you here too. And Ashlyn, you can see from back here in the wonderful Luke Roberts' office, I would be what you would consider a wrestling fan. But one thing I always wish that I had, and if you look in the back of the screen, on Ashlyn's screen, you notice somebody who's got history of what she's done, all the different flyers that you have in the back wall, talking about being involved in the world of professional wrestling. I mean, again, that shows the dedication, that heart of knowing what's there. Now, Ashlyn, I know Chris brought it up earlier, and for those that aren't in the greater St. Louis area, you've had a pretty storied rivalry with Maddie Monarch. And, I mean, you've been a tag team partner with her. You've also been a bitter enemy of her. The question is, what makes her stand out in your career? There have been so many things that you've participated in. What memories do you take from being in the ring, be it either as a partner or as an opponent, against the like of Maddie Monarch?
Maddie is somebody that has the fire that really not a lot of the girls nowadays have. She has the potential. She cares about everything that she does. She always wants to make everything look good, and she's always on her A game. But it's the fire. That's what it is for me. It's the fire that she has. Every single show, no matter what, as soon as she hits that curtain, fire. I love it. Like that's one of my most favorite things.
And you've wrestled Reign Victoria a couple times, and you teamed to a recent Dynamo show with Haley Shadows as well. What was it like being in the ring with those two? They're so young. I hate to say the word veteran, but what was it like being in the ring with those two?
Haley and Reign.
Haley and Reign, and Savannah even.
Okay, so Haley, it was different. And I love her vibe. She seems really cool. The work that she did and the work that we did together, I felt like we had a little bit of a connection. Like we have worked before, and like we've been partners before, but we haven't. So that was something good that I liked from that. Reign, I feel like Reign also has like the fire, and she's always on her A game as well. Like every single time I've stepped in the ring with her, I feel like I found like my perfect match to work. Same with Savannah. Like Savannah, since I actually started wrestling, that was somebody that I wanted to be in the ring with so bad. And then they announced the match, and I was excited that I got to work her, but I was kind of infuriated that I didn't get to work with her. But I think it was still like a very cool experience working with her, because I feel like she's also like a match to me, because not a lot of female wrestlers are more of in like the powerful, like hard hitting, all that type of stuff. And I love that. Like I love that. And I feel like both Savannah and Reign have that. So that's what I like about both of them, is they both kind of give me what I'm wanting out of it.
Is there anyone that you want to wrestle that you haven't wrestled yet? That's on the
Ooh.
independent scene.
On the independent scene, Alice Crowley. I really want to work her. That's somebody. Since I saw her at PWE, I've been wanting to work her. Other than that, my mind's drawing a blank on wrestlers that are in there.
I got one here for you, and this is one of those where I could very easily see the past versus the present. Why not we visit the idea of probably one of the most recognizable faces of recent memory in professional wrestling, and that being the Queen of Lariats, Ashlyn Alexandar, taking on Mischief.
You know, that I feel like that would be insane. I feel like it would definitely be something different from what we have now as well. I just think that would be amazing.
Well, Chris, I'm going to tell you right now, you've had an opportunity to be at Dynamo Pro events with Mischief being in the ring. I've had a lot of events with her, and I'm going to tell you, she's a different kind of wrestler. She's one of those that's going to come out there, and I'll say this. I had an opportunity, true story. When it comes to pro wrestlers and it comes to female pro wrestlers, I got to say there's really probably one, maybe two people that hit harder than Ashlyn Alexandar. One of them, to me, would be Sarah Del Rey. And we all know what kind of a career she had inside the ring and what she's had post-ring. But the other one, depending on where you saw her, was Amazing or Awesome Kong. And I had an opportunity in Cape Girardeau to see a champion versus champion match. It was the NWA versus AWA World Women's Championship match. And I saw Kong just beat unmercifully Mischief. I mean, I've never seen Mischief take that kind of abuse ever in the ring, even when she competed against guys in GCW. But she still kept coming. And that's one thing that intrigues me, is how is the match going to go when it gets to 5 minutes, when it gets to 10 minutes, when it gets to 15 minutes? And again, her name and her T-shirt bring that point to you. The Queen of Lariats. What's it like when you're throwing those 10, 15 minutes into a match and you're taking the air out of your opponent? I mean, that right there, that is a matchup that would really intrigue me. Now, Ashlyn, I'm going to level with you. And I brought this up at the beginning of the show. One of the things that we do here on the Wrestle Talk podcast each and every week is something we call the Game Show Challenge.
Oh, no.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I've made a very bold prediction.
Oh, boy.
And that is that certain people in this conversation, and they're not named Luke Roberts, and they're not named Ashlyn Alexandar, have really kind of developed the idea that they are the greatest thing in the history of wrestling trivia.
But I don't win this contest. Okay, let's just be honest. I don't win this contest very often anymore. So
you might win it this time.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, with given tonight's category, I think that not only are you, our guest, going to win tonight, but I'm even going to take it a step forward and say I think you can sweep Chris Rodell tonight.
Oh, let's just completely embarrass me tonight. That's okay.
We just want to make sure your face matches your shirt, Chris. I mean, again, it's one of those, you're already wearing a St. Louis Cardinals shirt. I mean, you know my view when it comes to the St. Louis Cardinals.
You're a Cubs fan. No, your opinion doesn't count.
Oh, really?
I see how.
Yeah.
It's
a Chicago thing.
It is true, but I mean, again, when you look at it here, who's won?
And the best part about it is Sadie is a White Sox fan, so I don't understand.
Really?
Sadie is from Chicago. He's a big White Sox fan.
I did not know that. That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yes, he goes up to the White.
Make him happy. Find him something related to the White Sox, and all is right with the world.
Or baseball cards.
That is true.
I knew that. I knew knew about the baseball cards.
Apparently, his attic is full of baseball cards.
Oh yeah, I've heard him talk about it, and
there's three things you can talk to Sadie about: baseball cards, softball, and wrestling.
That is true. But like I said, at this point, I want to ask you: do you feel Miss Queen of the Lariats? Do you feel as though that you're up to the challenge tonight of facing Chris Rodell in the world famous Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, Chris, I know this is going to make you sad because it's going to be your last few moments before Ashlyn defeats you 3 falls to none. So let's go ahead and hit the music so we can get things taken care of for the world famous Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, welcome to the world famous Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. It will feature the Queen of Lariats, the MMWA Women's Champion, Ashlyn Alexandar, taking on the Wrestle Talk podcast's own big sexy Chris Rodell. In just a few moments, we're going to ask you questions about 3 famous professional wrestlers. Once you think you know who this individual is, you go ahead and shout out the name. First one to get 2 out of 3 falls will be tonight's winner.
Oh, boy.
In honor of tonight's guest, tonight's Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge category is Hall of Fame wrestler.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy.
All 3 of these individuals have gone into the WWE Hall of Fame. Ashlyn, are you ready for the first question?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. Chris, are you ready?
Sure. You already think I'm going to lose, so let's get the pain over with.
All right. First question. This individual is a WWE Hall of Famer. Her husband is also a WWE Hall of Famer. She has competed in the last year in the WWE. Name her.
Beth Phoenix?
That's what I was going to say.
Correct.
That's what I was going to say.
First fall goes to big sexy Chris Rodell.
But when you say that their wife's a Hall of Famer and the husband's a Hall of Famer, that you kind of have to think is there's a couple of couples in that Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So
Then you said that they competed within the last year. I was going to ask you together. And I was like, Beth Phoenix.
That is true.
I was looking at my Edge stuff too. I was like, I feel like it's Beth Phoenix.
All righty. Are you both ready for question number 2?
Sure.
Yeah.
This individual is a WWF Hall of Famer. She is the first female to be inducted into the WWF WWE Hall of Fame. She is also known for being one of, if not the longest reigning champions in the history, not only of the WWF, but professional wrestling as a whole. Most wrestling fans know her from her association during the Attitude Era with Mae Young. Name her.
Fabulous Moolah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the second fall goes to Chris Rodell.
Now Ashlyn's gonna kill me on Saturday when I see her, but that's okay.
Look,
my
I
head's
felt
gonna...
bad. I felt bad, so I had to let you win.
Oh,
Well, hold on. Here's what we're gonna do. We still have one more question. You can save a little bit of moxie here by getting this third question correct.
Oh boy.
Are you ready, Ashley?
Yes.
Chris, I know you've already won, but are you ready to go?
Sure. You had no faith in me.
Well, I won't go there. So, question number 3. Once again, these competitors are both WWE Hall of Famers. As a matter of fact, they are the only WWE Women's Hall of Famers to be inducted together. Name them.
The Bella Twins.
I was gonna say I have no clue.
Ladies and gentlemen, and I'm definitely gonna live this one down. By a score of 3-0, Chris Rodell is the winner of tonight's Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge. Chris, I know you want to celebrate. I know you want to dance. Go ahead, hit your music, hit your celebration. And that's about all we needed of that. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to completely shift gears here for just a minute before we let you go, Ashlyn. I just noticed this. You had just a moment ago a bottle of a wonderful product that we all call Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to ask you this question. Have you been able to try the new flavor, which I think is strawberries and cream?
I have not. I've seen it, but I'm weird when it comes to like sodas besides Mountain Dew. I don't like with Pepsi how they have like cherry Pepsi and like the Peeps Pepsi and like all these other kinds. I like to stick to the original ones unless it's Mountain Dew. That's the only one that's acceptable.
Anything that has Peeps flavoring should be anyone that likes that should be put on a watch list somewhere because
I haven't ate Peeps in
Peeps, circus peanuts, and candy corn are the three most disgusting things you can ever put in your mouth.
Well, Chris, I'm going to tell you first of all,
You're crazy.
I in a weird way here, I'm going to have to agree with you because I actually am one of those that likes Peeps. But when it comes down, I don't drink caffeinated soda. Chris has known that for years. I tried it. I had about probably that much of the bottle, and I couldn't drink anymore. It was just the most sickening sweet, just ugh. It was
I bet.
horrid.
The
But
Peeps one?
Yeah, the Peeps one was horrible. And again, if you have an opportunity and you're in the stores, and again, I don't mean this in any way, shape, or form because we're always looking for sponsors for the Wrestle Talk podcast. Do not buy the Peeps soda. It's too rich. Now, Chris,
Godfather at CHWA was talking about how he was in love with the Peeps Pepsi on Sunday, and he was like, and it's a limited time item, so he's having to go to like different Dollar Trees to go to find.
I love Godfather. He's
Well, Chris,
I know he's an interesting person. Him
yeah.
doing the commentary, sitting next to him at the show on Sunday. They get into it. I mean, they.
Oh yeah, the one thing I missed.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna take a second here. I know we're getting close to the end. I know that you and Chris are gonna talk about bashing Peep soda and all that. So I'm gonna go ahead here and take a minute, Chris. Go ahead and just take me off the screen. I'm going to need a moment here. Go ahead and take me off the screen because I need to compose myself before I continue the last little bit of this interview.
He talks too much, but yeah. But Godfather is a very interesting person. You were saying that's something that do you miss that about CHWA?
Oh yeah. When I was sitting there and I heard him do the great googly moogly thing, I like.
Oh my god, he did that.
Heart. I love him.
He did that so many times. I guess is that his thing? Is that his thing?
Yeah, that's his thing. Yep.
So do you miss performing at CHWA?
Yes, I miss I just miss the crowd and like the atmosphere. Like it was somewhere that like you go in and everyone's like a family. Like it's just one big family, and that's something that I loved about that place, especially starting out there. Like it was a really fun time. Like yeah. I loved it.
And I will admit, the first time I went last year when they were at their old building at the boxing gym, I think is what it was, or the wrestling gym. Dilly invited me to come to a show, and I was like, I didn't know how I was going to be accepted, being I'm kind of I'm a Dynamo guy and stuff like that. But
yeah,
everyone accepted me and brought me in, and they and even being at a couple of the shows this year, it's a welcoming atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
With Chris and Dilly and all of them. Sophia Sombra is a good. Her and Maddie are the tag champions, if I'm not mistaken, right now. So, will we ever see you in CHWA again?
Maybe.
And I wanted to ask you about Gally Lucha up in Chicago. I'm going to bring Luke back in. Apparently, he's composed himself. But I want one more question before you go. I want to talk about Gally Lucha up in Chicago. How is that different than St. Louis wrestling?
Man, it's it's just crazy there. Like it's walking through the curtain. I don't know. It's just like it's so insane. the crowd is different. Like they have the little clickers. Some of them have like the big drums and stuff. And they are just so like the energy, like I was saying earlier, the energy is just like it's above there. Like it's nuts. Like but I love it there. That's probably one of my favorite places to go.
It's Chicago. I mean,
Oh,
you have to drive to Chicago, but that's
Yeah.
that's about the only bad thing probably about it. But
It's actually not that bad.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now here, I had to take a moment to compose myself. But again, as you can see from the scenery, I had to make it a point to tell Chris as a reminder.
They have different flavored peeps, and they're all terrible.
Ew.
You're
No. Oh yeah, you're done. You're done.
Well, like I said here, this has been an interview with the Queen of Lariats, Ashlyn Alexandar. Ashlyn, I know you're going to be in a lot of places in the upcoming weeks. For those who want to follow you on social media or follow you as you compete inside the squared circle, how can people find you here, not only in the St. Louis area, but as you said, you're making travels all throughout the Midwest as of late. How can people follow you on social media and your upcoming events?
Okay, so social media, Facebook is just Ashlyn Alexandar. Instagram is it's Ashlyn Alexandar. Almost didn't know how to say my own name for a second. Upcoming shows, I know Saturday we're at the Taco Festival.
Taco and Margarita Festival at
Yes, we are at that, which that is a first for me, so I'm very excited about that. And then the 8th of April, which is also my birthday, so I'm really excited about that show. I get to defend my title against Shylin. And then other than that, I know like another big one I have is I get to debut at Ragin' Pro Wrestling in Wisconsin.
Nice.
I think it's in June, so that's gonna be exciting too. So it's gonna be something different. It's an all-girl show. So it's gonna be something different from here, and I think it's gonna be fun.
Well, Ashlyn, it has been a pleasure interviewing you. We hope to have you back again sometime. Talk about as you get down the road. And I will see. Me and Luke will probably see you on Saturday at the Taco and Margarita Festival at the Shavitz Arena. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Ashlyn Alexandar, the Queen of Lariats, the MMWA Heavyweight Champion. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you down the road.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ashlyn Alexandar here on the Wrestle Talk. Chris?
Yo. We're being infiltrated by another podcast, and I don't know who this is. What's going on?
Wait a minute, hold up. They're saying that there's something that they need shared. I didn't get anything.
Oh, it's
Ruby, what are you doing here? This is the Wrestle Talk podcast. What are you doing here?
Hey, I thought about it. First off, you're going to question yourself too much if you're going to keep feeding yourself with all those crappy peeps, man. That's going to be totally nasty.
Peeps are the absolute worst. Peeps, candy corn, and circus peanuts. I'm standing.
As long as you don't start going out there and giving me grief about Cadbury cream eggs, then we're going to have some problems.
I've never had one.
Yeah, two things in common with powdered coffee creamer and peeps. You can start a fire with both.
The only thing peeps are good for is to put them in the microwave and watch them explode.
Right.
Well, like I said, what gives us the opportunity to be graced with your presence here this evening, Mr. Ruby? I mean, you weren't on the format.
No.
What's going on here?
No, you're not on the format. But I have been within the past couple weeks or so, I've been in collaboration and just thinking because. Like all of us know, if we're got our heads in the ground. If we don't know, it's already WrestleMania season. We're in it. We're less than 2 weeks away from the big extravaganza. Now, the reason I came back on here is because it was about 2 years ago that we had a WrestleMania challenge here to you guys, but now I'm coming back to offer you guys to redeem yourselves as we wipe the floor with you. And it's a WrestleMania Trivia Showdown. That's right. And I'm challenging you guys this Sunday, 9 p.m. on our channel, Falls Count Everywhere, that you can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. That's for all of your folks to see. And I'm in agreement with my boys. mentally, I should say, and that is the Gem City Mouse of Miz, and of course that is Mr. GQ, who will be participating as a team. So all I'm going to say is find the two best guys you got. I'm going to be the moderator. No one's going to see what I've got because I got a surprise for everybody. So I'm the games master, I should say, at this point. So I'm saying we're just throwing out the challenge out there for you guys to kind of redeem yourselves and kind of see if there's anything you guys want to put up. But like I said, that's optional. If you just want to do it for pride or boasting, that's fine too. But we're just throwing the challenge out there to you.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now here, and I know the Night Owl's not here, but on behalf of the Wrestle Talk podcast, I'm going to go ahead and say right now that we, as a broadcast entity, as a program with a long lineage of professional wrestling excellence, are going to accept your challenge, Mr. Ruby. And as we're going to say right now, not only are we going to be successful this coming Sunday night in the Wrestle Talk Trivia or WrestleMania Trivia Challenge, but the Wrestle Talk podcast will dominate the WrestleMania Trivia Challenge.
Can I ask you a question? I'm new to the Wrestle Talk podcast. What happened the first time?
We don't talk about that, Chris. That's ancient history.
I'll be happy to pull up the episode and post it on your page to watch and if you want to entertain yourselves with a landslide. Well, we'll be more than happy.
Well, make sure you put it on our new page. We have a new page out there, the Wrestle Talk podcast. It'll be the profile picture will be this week's poster with Ashlyn Alexandar on it. So, yeah. Make sure you post it there, and we'll share it out there. I guess maybe I shouldn't say that because I'm kind of new to the podcast. So,
well, I'm going to say it this way.
It wasn't a sweep, was it?
No, it wasn't a sweep, but the best you could find for your team, Ruby, was Mr. GQ. The best you could find for your team.
Now, don't underestimate my guys because they can come in and they can sweep and they can kick butt. So don't worry about that. We're just throwing it out there. It's all for fun. It's WrestleMania. Like I said, I wanted to kind of throw it out there to you guys again. And it's just have an entertaining aspect. And hey, just think about it. When you come back next week, you guys may be boasting and bragging how you wiped the floor with us. But it's all in the minds. And like I said, we're prepared to throw down and have some fun. And I
think we're gonna have to take this to the board to find out.
Oh, no, Chris. I've already bypassed that. The Wrestle Talk podcast will be in the house this Sunday on the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. We are going to accept the challenge, and I'm going to tell you right now, Ruby, this is going to be, again, not only do we talk serious about it, but it's going to be a great time. It's going to be fun. Have an opportunity. Many people who love the sport, and I know that's going to get me some flack, but love the sport of professional wrestling and the history of professional wrestling coming together to talk about one of the greatest experiences, as many people say, the Super Bowl of wrestling. And again, it's one of those, some people would say it was Starrcade, but almost anybody in this day and age would say WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of wrestling. And we're going to have an opportunity this Sunday night, 9 p.m. Central Time.
What kind of categories are we talking about? Because I don't have a lot of things I specialize in. I'm terrible at the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. I can't get 2 out of 3 questions right most of the time. So,
well, don't worry. Like I said, if you show up, Big Sexy, you can show up. Like I said, Skywalker can show up, and we'll just say, may the best men win. But I'm telling you, if you don't show up,
don't do it, all right? It would be a bad move.
I know where you guys are at, and I can find you. So,
well, I'm going to tell you right now, Ruby, this Sunday, 9 p.m. Central Time on the Falls Count Everywhere podcast, it's going to be the WrestleMania Trivia Challenge, the Wrestle Talk podcast taking on Falls Count Everywhere. And I'm going to tell you, Ruby,
I think Ruby just came on and
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Well, you know something, Chris, just to make sure here, and this is going to be something a little bit different tonight. As we're well aware here, we're going a little bit of overtime as we're normally a 2-hour program, but we've gone a little bit over tonight.
Shocker.
Great thing. Well, that is true. But you know what? As we're sitting here right now, we've got about 30 seconds left here. And Chris, if you'd be so kind here, we've had a lot of great guests here tonight. Let's go ahead and talk about our sponsors real quick before we let everybody go here. Just so we know all those great people that bring forth the Wrestle Talk podcast. Royal Mills Transportation, Rathbun Engraving, home of those great Wrestle Talk podcast mugs, Nobleman Barber Lounge, Kansas City, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. We also have, of course, Interstate 70 Sports Media with our good friend, the Maestro Jeremy Karp, Little Popeye Designs, home of those great Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers, and, of course, the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter, the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. I'm going to tell you right now, tonight's show's been great. Next week, as Ruby said, we're going to be finishing up our road to WrestleMania. And for those who want to see more of the Wrestle Talk podcast, check us out, WrestleTalkPodcast.com, on all forms of social media, also WrestleTalkPodcast.com. And one last time, if you didn't catch it, the challenge has been thrown out. The challenge has been accepted. And Chris, we're going to go ahead and wrap up tonight's show with this reminder, as you put it up here on the screen one more time. This Sunday night, 9 p.m., March 26th, of course, Wrestle Talk Podcast taking on Falls Count Everywhere podcast and the WrestleMania Trivia Showdown, hosted by the one, the only Rough Cut Rick Ruby. Again, it's going to be on all forms of social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, you name it, you're going to catch it this Sunday night, March 26th, 9 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, for myself, Luke Roberts, Big Sexy Chris Rodell, and of course, the one, the only Rough Cut Rick Ruby, want to thank each and every one of you for coming on the program tonight, watching us on the program, and remember, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling. We'll see you next week right here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast.